grateful for how well they've responded to the actions that unfolded last night, the different rally things that they've heard and that were posted on the media sources and different things along that line, and how reflective and responsive we've been to be able to accommodate our students' needs and in meeting the needs of this walkout protest, and then having the 17 minutes of silence that we're able to pull off very effectively today. So the professionalism that our staff and our students displayed from last night until this morning, and the expectations that they met, was just outstanding. We couldn't be prouder of them. The other piece is just the message that our students really came up with, and really, if you see something, hear something, say something, couldn't be more evident than what unfolded last night when those social media posts were made, and our students responded quickly, our parents responded quickly, and our staff did, to let building administration know, and then work directly with the Romeoville Police Department for them to investigate it, determine the threat was invalid by about 11:30 last night, and allow us to communicate to our parents and our students that coming to school today was going to be a safe junction. So I'd like to thank them, Romeoville Police Department, our students, our staff, and our community, most definitely first. So I guess I could take any questions about anything that anybody has about the event or what we do.
What did you do today? Because there wasn't a walkout, so what did you do?
What we did is we modified our plans with our students. First thing we did is we talked with our students this morning when we first came in and told them that we were going to have to modify our plans from what we originally had planned to go outside, just because of the perceived threat and the uneasiness that some of our parents and our students had during the time. So what we were able to do is coordinate a volunteer walkout to have all of our students go into the gymnasium. Of our 1,800 students, we had about 1,300 of them in attendance with us today, and just from a rough estimate, we had probably about 1,100 students in the gymnasium. Here a brief speech from some members of our student leadership group, and we did 17 minutes of silence, and it really was 17 minutes of silence, reflection, interpretation of the lives lost, and how the movement is really making an impact on what we're doing here as a school and how we serve our community as well.
You know that you kept that teenagers kept silent for 17 minutes is no small feat, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, that is, it's rather impressive. I mean, it's 17 minutes when you're sitting silent does seem like a long time, and I kind of alluded to that inside the gymnasium. That 17 minutes goes by so quick when you're not focused on the actual time. But to tell you the truth, any expectation we've been able to give our kids always rise to meet it. I think we know that setting high expectations with our youth today, and you give them the structure and the organization and the venue to do it, they're going to rise to meet our expectations over and over and over again.
Was there disappointment that your action is different from the actions of many, many, many high schools all over the country?
My interpretation of that would probably be best explained from our students. I know our students were disappointed that the act took place last night with the post on the social media, more so than anything else, more so than the actions that we had to do as an administrative team to make sure that we were a safe school today, you know, and to make sure the activities were going to be done in a very organized and safe fashion. But our students, again, being very responsive and understanding to what it is, and they know that they trust us, that we're going to go back to this and we're going to provide them the proper venue and activity, maybe next month or next week or wherever that might be, to do the activity, to show that unity, to get that picture done from that aerial photograph, to really make sure that their message that they wanted to hit home with, to send that picture down to Florida to show that we're standing behind them and supporting them, but also showing our entire community that we're standing united, that school safety is a very, very high importance on all of our minds.
So you're going to have a walkout then?
We will have an assembly at a later date to be determined, and we'll work with our kids just like we did as this one was planned going forward. But again, that will have to come at a later date once we're able to work with our building administration. We have a very rigid testing schedule coming up with SATs and Illinois science assessments and different things along that nature, and having off-sequence spring break. We're going to have to work that in. Our students are very well aware of all the different ways on how the school year unfolds, but we're definitely willing to accommodate that and make sure that their wishes were met and what they wanted to accomplish initially here today.
Are any of them able to talk to us?
Absolutely.
Is there any disciplinary action against the students who posted?
To tell you the truth, we are still working with the Romeoville Police Department going forward in terms of disciplinary actions against the students that posted. We're still, our deans and some of my assistants are still working to get statements and doing due process, but even outside of that, I can't communicate exactly what would take place discipline-wise against those students, but I can assure you that we will investigate it and due process will be had with those students.
As an educator, do you feel a shift since Parkland?
I feel a shift of acknowledgement that the social emotional piece is real in the things that we're dealing with in schools today. I can tell you that as an educator for 18 years, I can definitely see a shift that our students are coming to us with more trauma, mental trauma in terms of that aspect, whether it's inflicted at home, whether it's inflicted outside or inside or wherever that might be, but we're dealing with it a lot more frequently than we've had in the past. But also the best thing about our district is we've been so responsive in deploying resources to support those kids to be a more inclusive school to where we can support them here and keep them and treat them and make sure that they're involved in different things and activities instead of just where in other instances maybe in the past or 10 years ago or 20 years ago those students might have been expelled or dispelled from the process to where we're really having the ability with the services our district provides to support our students social, emotionally, and academically to make sure we're getting them to that next level, whether it be college or careers once they leave.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How long did the entire thing this morning in the gym last? I know you had 17 minutes of silence,
Yeah.
but as far as the student speeches and everything else, so was the entire...
We dismissed, we did a brief announcement at about 9:57 a.m. inviting the students who wanted to participate to come down to the gymnasium. They very respectfully stood up and walked out at 10 o'clock. I think any one of our staff or our students would be able to tell you they walked down very, very calmly and quietly down to the gymnasium. We're able to assemble in there, getting 1,000 kids or 1,100 kids into the gym. Sat quickly in there at about 10:06, and the whole thing wrapped up. I think it was like about 10:22 by the time. So about 5 minutes of talk and speech, 17 minutes of silence, and the students exited the gym and went on to their fourth period class.
As my colleague said, it is quite difficult to get so many children to be silent, 17 minutes, but what was that feeling like, having all of your students with you for that somber moment?
Yeah, very, very powerful. The one thing, as the silence ended, I said their silence spoke volumes to their passion, to their beliefs and their cause, that they wanted to make sure that people heard today. And I mean, just with that, just get choked up a little bit about it, just thinking back to the 17 minutes that were there, and then just seeing the reaction of all the students once that 17 minutes was over, and seeing the emotion come out and the togetherness, the unity that was there. Very, very powerful. Seeing our staff members also feel that passion and just understand that our students really took this on and really wanted to make it their own, and they did it their way. We worked with them and supported it through the whole process was very rewarding and refreshing.